home sellers seem to not grasp this concept of real estate not being in a vacuum. So I want to talk about two different scenarios that we're running into right now with clients in terms of the price of their home and what they want for the home versus what it's worth. Because the reality is no real estate agent determines the value of a home. The real estate agent comes up with the marketing strategy. You guys work together to determine the price that helps hit your strategy. I think there's three ways to price a home. You price it aggressive, okay, which is typically maybe below market or slightly below market to try and incite a bidding war or a quick sale. The purpose behind pricing the aggressive number is to be in control, to get more than one buyer competing for the home, maybe to ensure you're more likely to get cash or better terms, or you need a contingency so you can go out and buy another home, or simply because you don't want to keep eating mortgage payments, okay? A lot of sellers don't grasp that, and then they overprice and then they chase. The next way to price a home is at retail, okay? Retail is what the market value, what the comps point at. The problem in a market like today is some of our neighborhoods, not all, our real estate market is really kind of a weird hodgepodge right now because you've got condos doing their thing and you got some neighborhoods doing their thing and other neighborhoods doing a different thing. It's because it's really hyper-local. So this advice doesn't always translate to every type of property. But you have some neighborhoods in Tampa Bay where we're seeing some depreciation, where we're seeing an abundance of homes on the market, not as many selling, and sellers have to cut prices to compete and get their home sold. So when I say retail, it doesn't mean looking backwards at comps. It means what is it selling for now? What are we competing against? What does the actives look like? Okay. Then the last way to price a home is overpricing it. And in a market where prices are softening or declining, you chase the market. So you've got a $400,000 house that is worth $400,000 and you say, I want $450,000 because that's what I have in it. Well, the market doesn't care what you have in it. Okay. What you have in it isn't going to help it appraise. What you have in it isn't going to get you a buyer. There are a lot of real estate agents the last few years who have listened to sellers and say, okay, we'll price it what you have in it because the market was hot enough to support it. And the real estate agent wasn't honest with them about the price. And then the home sat on the market for months and months, doesn't sell, puts the seller in a disadvantaged position because the real estate agent couldn't be honest enough and the seller couldn't see through their own, glasses with the property because every home seller thinks their home's the best one. There's a reason you live in it. But that strategy, if you price it high and then you lower and eventually prices are dropping and you don't end up catching up with it. After a house gets on the market a certain number of days, it varies from neighborhood to neighborhood, but let's just say on average it's 100. After it gets past 100 days, consumers start to look at it like, there's something wrong with it. Okay. Social media has programmed people to want what other people want. If everyone else has passed on this house for 100 days, there's a lot of buyers that are just simply going to click next. Even if it might check every single box for them, they're not going to want it because no one else wanted it. And then you're basically stuck and your home's not going to sell because you've let too much time pass before you got to the realistic price. So again, there's three ways to price. Price aggressive, with the intention to try and create the energy and action quickly, potentially a bidding war to try and drive the price up, controlled terms. You price it at retail, you're going to get offers are probably going to be a little bit lower than asking because that's the market, or you're going to pay some concessions, and it's going to take, 60 or so days to sell. And then you chase the market where you price it at some fantasy land number because of what you have in it or what you want or how you think that your house is the best one in the neighborhood, like every other home seller on earth. And then eventually you lower and lower and lower. And sometimes maybe you get it sold, but a lot of times you don't. And a lot of times you lose a lot of money chasing the market, where if you'd have just cut to the chase on the price, you would have put more money in your pocket, saved that mortgage payment, and moved on with a lot less energy and stress. So pricing today is super crucial. The other thing I want to talk about is how relative it is to what you're doing. We will have sellers say, I'm selling my 300 to move across town and buy a 600, okay? But I need 350 out of my house. So since it's only worth 300, I'm going to wait until it gets to 350. Let me tell you why that is really, really dumb, okay? So number one, it assumes that your 600 isn't going to go up. If we can just say that appreciation is consistent in a lot of areas, or it isn't drastically different from one neighborhood to another neighborhood. In Tampa Bay, there are some variations, but usually it's not that far off. So if your 300 house goes to 350, it needs to go up 17%. if your 600 house goes up 17% as well, you didn't gain the 50 on the 300, you lost 50 because the other house went up more than 100 grand. So sellers oftentimes don't think about this. They don't think about what's likely happening to the property they want to buy after they sell the one that they have. Okay, so in reality, if you don't get what you want out of the house that you're selling, then you just have to modify what you're buying at or get a better deal, because in reality, if one goes up, the other may as well, and you're really losing money that you think that you're saving, all the while missing out on the opportunity of getting where you really want to be, and the opportunity cost of the time, energy, and effort that you spend, eating mortgage payments and living in a home that you don't really want to live in.